YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Rome 2. Let's get over to a replay, and I'm going to show you the second battle that I played against my previous opponent. And it looks like this is... no, that was where I was Rome. Save game's acting this way. There we go. This time he played as Rome, and I decided to play as the Gallic tribe, so I bring Galatia. And we're playing on the Stonehenge map, which is pretty fun. My opponent brings a Polybian cohort, the same way I did, except that he's spent all of his money and gone with less upgrades, and he brought Praetorian Cav. So it's a Polybian cohort, but he's supporting it with Praetorian Cav, which is the main difference between his army and the one I brought. I had some upgrades on my Hastati, and I had 2 units of Triarii instead of bringing better Cav supported by Vigiles. And Vigiles were just like policemen, I believe, if I... not exactly like policemen, but just, you know, town watch kind of thing. My opponent brings several units of war dogs, though, similar to what I did. He's got 2 mixed in with his army, and then he's got those Velites, and then he's got another over here in these trees, maybe thinking they could hide. But the dogs can't hide, I can see them. My army is pretty straightforward. I've got a line of naked swords for charging. I've got a line of levy spearmen for keeping them from being countercharged by cavalry and also absorbing javelins. And then I've got a line of 5 Galatian legionnaires. So it's 4 naked swords, 4 levy freemen, 5 Galatian legionnaires, 2 noble horse, 1 Celtic light horse, and then I've got 2 Galatian raiders, which is a missile cav, very effective missile cav. Actually, these guys have Parthian shot, which means that they can throw javelins behind them while running away. They have poor armor, but they've got very good melee attack, very good weapon damage, very good charge bonus, and extremely good melee defense for cavalry. Now again, their health is low, or not their health, their armor is low, and their base morale is not all that good. But they can throw javelins, they're quick, and a rear charge from these guys can be decimating because they also have the frenzied charge ability, and even without it, a 39 charge bonus isn't bad. So they can throw javelins into the back of infantry, they can throw javelins into cavalry, they can rear charge infantry, they can mop up enemy skirmishers. These are very handy cav units. For the price, these guys are a fantastic buy, and it's one of the reasons why I really like Galatia, because I think that these Galatian raiders give them kind of an interesting, unique tool that a lot of factions don't have access to. So let's move on here. I'm going to fast forward for just a minute. I initially attacked my opponent's dogs just to get him to release them with my light cav. I didn't know how dogs did it against cav, but I remember from my battle against Pontus that my guys did really bad, my dogs did, against his cav. So here the same thing held true, and I was able to basically get rid of one of his war dogs with only losing 5 light horsemen. You can see there's only 2 dogs left kind of chasing me, and that one just got killed. And 1 more dog there, looks like, and we just killed it too. So yeah, not bad. So then I'm going to countercharge his war dogs, and this is a bait for his Praetorian cav. He's got it out here in flying wedge formation, and I'm really wanting to bait his Praetorian cav into coming in without having charged my noble horse. And a Praetorian cav in flying wedge is a pretty powerful cav unit. And you can see he pops Draco immediately, and it actually ends up affecting my noble horse as well, which is bad. But I'm going to countercharge his Praetorians here with a frenzied charge from the flank. So I'm going to get a pretty nice cav charge in here. At the last second he tries to countercharge me. But again, with that bonus versus cav killed for a minute because of the Draco ability, it's going to really help the Praetorians hold out longer. And over here I get some Levian freemen engaged into his Praetorian cav, but my guys are bad. And my general ends up dying pretty early in this fight, so you can see the morale effect it's already having on my men. Plus, he's releasing dogs into this fight, so it's also having a morale effect on my men. So he releases the dogs, but his Praetorians are just out of position. They're too far ahead of their support. And look at my Galatian riders here. I'd hoped to use these on his infantry from behind, but it became necessary for me to use them right now. And you can see how a few volleys from behind, and I wrecked an entire Praetorian cav unit. And then I'm going to just throw another spearman over here to hold these guys. Again, my general died, which is terrible because I'm using a barbarian army. And you really don't want to lose your general. But at least it'll give my men a chance to stabilize before the main engagement takes place. And you can see me just picking off his Praetorian cav. And I throw in another spearman with cavalry counter tactics turned on. But look at this, Praetorian cav plus the dogs that are still there. Just eats alive this levy freeman. See, these guys are weak units, but with those dogs still in there, it means that he's just going to sit there and tear apart my levy freeman, and they rout too. So his Praetorian cav went through a noble horse and 2 levy freemen. But my Galatian raiders end up finishing them in the end, which is kind of funny. A couple of units of light cav taking out the heavy armored Roman kind. And here at the end, I don't want to waste my last volley of javelins. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to waste it, but I should have, because when I charge, his Praetorians end up getting like, they end up getting a ridiculous number of kills. Yeah, it kind of made me mad how many kills they got because they were already wavering. But whatever, they routed, and I ended up saving a volley of javelins. Here, he had one last unit of dogs, and I threw this unit of Levy Freeman in the way of the dogs, just because his cav is dead now. There's really no purpose to my Levy Freeman, so I just put them up here as dog food. Ayers Levy Freeman dog treats, tasty to the last crunch. Oh yeah. So yeah, you can see that me sacrificing my men to savage, hungry dogs, not beneath Patchy whatsoever, and it ends up working. Just let the dogs chew them up, and I have other units here to keep those. And you'll notice that I'm holding back on my attack. Number one, give my men a chance to maybe forget that the general died. It's gonna take their toll. Take its toll, especially if the men aren't disciplined, which most of mine are not. See, they don't have the disciplined ability. So yeah, you can see this. Anyway, just again getting my men in the way of his dogs, just to give them something to chew on that's not my naked swords, because it's very important that my naked swords get a very good charge. Because my opponent could utterly destroy me with his infantry. I mean, I have 5 Galatian Legionnaires, which is a great unit. Naked swords are fantastic on the charge. Their weapon damage is lower than I remember. Or melee attack is. Geez, only 29 melee attack? This guy needs a boost. But they have 20 bonus versus infantry, so never mind. Yeah. They're very good versus infantry. The only thing I didn't like was these War Dog handlers got in the way of this charge. This is going to be a clean charge, and I frenzied charge, so I could get my charge damage and weapon damage up. And you can see that it takes its toll. The Hastati start taking some pretty serious losses upon the charge, because this is what naked warriors are meant for. They're not going to last long in a fight. That's why I used frenzy early on. Frenzy is not bad if you're going to be using it on a unit that's probably not going to last a long time anyway, because then it gets them in and helps them do more damage in the short time that they're going to be in the fight. And you can see that my men doing pretty well here against this Hastati. My opponent even cracked to use the whip on them, and I'm just keeping a couple units busy with my raiding horsemen, and I've taken my last remaining noble horse and started to run down his Velites. Got to keep those guys out of the fight. I rout his Hastati in a couple spots, and then I'm just going to blunt the charge of his Principes with my naked swords. They're going to die at this point, but at least it blunts his Principe charge. See that? He actually tries to charge my Galatian Legionnaires. And his guys charge right through my naked swords. There weren't many of them left. Yeah, see how their charge got held up? That was perfect for me, because now I can counter-charge with my Galatian Legionnaires, who have a much stronger charge than the Principes. The Principes are going to be better in a long-term fight. See here, we're going to charge in, frenzy charge where I can. See how my guy's going to get a nice charge here, and then I'm already moving around his flank, so I'm looking for a rear charge right here. And then I'm also looking at some other rear charges. I've stopped this Principe, and I'm going to rear charge here. And then I've got my noble horse coming back for a rear charge here. Let's watch this rear charge. Getting rear charged by naked warriors. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Yeah, so I've got my my opponent completely pincered there. He's pincered here, and then I've got a frenzied charge coming right here, but then my opponent admits defeat, which I hate that it was a little bit early, so you all didn't get to see the end of that. But I mean, the writing was pretty much on the wall at that point. So managed to take down the Roman troops there. My opponent, his mistakes here. The War Dogs were a good choice, and I don't know if he was just copying me or he already knew that War Dogs are good for this. But bringing the War Dogs to disrupt a barbarian charge as the Romans is a fantastic idea, or to disrupt the charge of any army, because to be honest, that's really the only weakness of Roman infantry, is that it's not very good on the charge. Just because it's formation attack, they have low charge. So if you use War Dogs to break up the charge of more powerful charging enemies, it makes your Legionnaires a little more effective in that sense, as if they weren't effective enough. But anyway, that's Rome's strength, is heavy infantry, and if you can get those heavy infantry into the type of fight where they excel, then that's what they'll do. They'll get in there and excel. My opponent was too hasty with his Praetorian cav. If he would have brought his infantry forward and engaged me in a more headlong fashion, I don't think there's any way I could have won this fight, because my cav would have been busy. It would have been harder for me to get rear charges, because I would have had to go clear around his Praetorian cav that was engaging my own. I may have been able to use my raiding horsemen to good effect at that point, but I may not have either because my opponent had units to chase them around in the backfield. So I think that was definitely a winnable battle on the part of my opponent if he would have just played it a little bit different. But anyway, good game to him. Hope you all enjoyed these. Heir of Carthage, signing off for now.